There we are. Maybe y'all won't get too much baby crying on the recording.
Baby crying,
All right, you can be okay.
Dad.
Do I need to turn you around?
Daddy,
What?
I love you. Please don't do this
Please.
to me.
To you? Don't do.
No.
Oh, careful.
Stop, Daddy.
That was not a smart thing to do.
Stop that.
I say that like it wasn't my fault entirely. Looking at the baby, that was a smart thing to do.
Baby.
All right, let's try this. Let's just do the happy baby hold, and she will eventually go to sleep, and then we'll try and put her in the stroller. Okay. All right. Morning, y'all. It's good to see you, Gideon. Good to be seen. You don't have to like seeing me. It's okay. I'm not into forcing people to like me. You either like me or you don't. Nathan doesn't like me, for example. He just pretends to. And the fact that he's not denying it. I'm just picking on you. I still haven't figured out if Raymond likes me or not. Oh, awesome. I am a chill guy. That is me. Unless I'm tired and or hungry. I have to be very tired though to not be chill. Like you woke me up in the middle of the night. Kind of tired. In case anybody is wondering what I'm holding, it is the baby. It is the baby. It's not just some random skin-colored orb. All right, so as is the reality of having a small church and of having a wife who's a nurse, sometimes it happens that there's just nobody to watch the baby, and my wife is out for work. So, apologize in advance for any distraction that I cause. But like Raymond said, we're going to be chill. All right, there's no reason to. I'm not the chill guy meme chill guy because I don't look nearly that cool, but it is what it is. For instance, sometimes we ride the struggle bus. Y'all are familiar with the term struggle bus. Have y'all ever ridden the struggle bus? No, you've never been to Struggle Town? Well, I got here this morning. We went through a checklist before we left, didn't we, Owen? Yes, he's nodding his head. We went through a checklist to make sure we didn't forget anything. You know, the baby, the baby's diaper bag, your food. It would, but I'd figure it out pretty quick. Now, last week I left the baby's diaper bag at home, or 2 weeks ago. That was bad. I had to go to Walmart and get bottles and formula because I didn't have anything to feed her. I had diapers in the car. So this morning, I forgot two very important things. One of them was a screwdriver. And you might be thinking, why is a screwdriver important? It's because I have to fix something, and I keep forgetting to bring the screwdriver to fix it. And there's no screwdriver here. It's got to be Phillips. This close. Anyways, so I forgot the screwdriver. No big deal, right? I got like halfway here, and I was like, dang it, I didn't grab that screwdriver. Riding the struggle bus. I went to put this microphone on this morning and realized I didn't put my belt on this morning. Y'all. No, because these pants actually fit. But just so y'all have some context for the struggle bus this morning. What?
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy. So that's just how it's going this morning. I'm grateful for a group that doesn't seem to really care if it's a little struggly, a little chiller than usual. I don't get letters for being too casual, so that's nice. We have been talking about the Sermon on the Mount for quite a while. Actually, it's getting close to 10 Sundays that we've been in the Sermon on the Mount, something like that. Because there are just so many little sections of it that are worth talking about individually. Last week, does anybody remember you were here last week. Gideon wasn't here. Did the other three of you, any of you remember what we talked about last week? It had to do with material goods, yeah. Oh, and please stop making noise. Or go to the playroom. Are you gonna be quiet? Okay. Then go to the playroom and play. Those are your options, bud. Then I need you to sit quietly. Okay? Got it? Thank you. All right, so last week we were going over the previous section of Matthew chapter 7 here, verses 7 through 11. Yeah, 7 through 11. And we got this interesting idea from Jesus, and it was, ask and you will receive. Now, what kind of things should we be asking God for? Just in review.
Fruit of the Spirit.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. What other things should we be asking for? Yes, sir.
Love, joy, peace, patience,
I love you too, Owen. Yes, those are the fruit of the Spirit that you just mentioned. What other things? What should we not ask God for?
things that benefit us in a bad way.
Selfish things. Yeah. So there seems to be this going theme in the Sermon on the Mount, a few of them. One of them is that God provides what we need. Another is that the heart behind our actions matters just as much as the actions themselves. You can sin without doing anything, without actually going and doing something. You can sin just in your heart, which kind of makes the standard impossible for us to keep. Which is the point. We're sinful. We can't be perfect. We can't be holy like God is holy. So, are you finally going to go to sleep? You are so tired. Look at these baby's eyes. She's so tired.
Baby's tired.
I have now held all of my babies and preached with them at least once.
Baby's tired.
Said, that's okay.
Baby
It's a tradition at this point.
tired.
Baby Violet is tired. Last week we were talking about what you should ask for. The heart of what you're asking for matters. And we had some pretty direct guidance, actually, from Jesus in this same sermon as to what we should be seeking, and give us a pretty good hint of what we should be asking for. When we're talking about God's provision, what was it that Jesus said at the end of that passage? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things, food, clothes, housing, all these things will be added to you. Yes, sir. Pockets. Pockets fall into the category of clothes, so yes. Okay. Part of your clothes. All right. So what should we be asking God for? If we're seeking his kingdom and his righteousness, we should be asking for things that further his kingdom or help us to be more righteous, or the things that he's promised to provide for us. Asking for our basic needs. But this idea of not being selfish when we're asking God for things carries over into today's passage, We're looking at Matthew. Oh, it's not up on the screen. Matthew 7:12 through 14. It's just 3 short verses today, so I've got to ramble about other things before we get into it, or we'll just be done like super fast. I've gone above and beyond for y'all today. I have pictures in my presentation. I have pictures. Only 2 of them, but they're quite relevant to the topic. Yes, sir. What do you need to tell me? No. Okay. Owen. Thank you. Let's go play the quiet game. Do I need to count you down? Okay, you just gonna play it? Quiet game. Good job. All right, we're looking at what it means to have a lifestyle of discipleship today. A lifestyle of discipleship here in Matthew 7, verses 12 through 14. Let's talk about what that might mean. Why do we need a lifestyle of discipleship? Do we? When you go out in public, how do you act? Goodly. Why?
To not make yourself bad.
To not make yourself look bad, but also to not make the people who are above you look bad. So, for instance, if I were to go around wearing a Truett McConnell University shirt like I am today, and I just was a jerk to everybody, or I was going and getting wasted in a bar every week, what would people think of Truett McConnell University? They would think they put out jerks and drunks. Okay? If we go out and we are proclaiming the name of Jesus and we're being a jerk, what are people going to think? Jesus is a jerk. Or Christians are jerks. I don't want to be a part of that group. Owen, it is not your business, buddy. Oh, to be 4 again. We have to be aware of how our actions, how our lifestyle reflects on God. Just like you have to be aware of how your actions reflect on your parents. Because when you act silly and you won't be quiet in service, it makes your parents look bad. Just a little bit. Unless you're 4, and then it's understandable. He's fine, Owen. He's not hurting anything. You are not in charge. If you don't want to see it, come up here. Then you won't see him doing it. Come on. You can. Sit right there. You get a nice comfy seat. Did you get the bear?
No.
We'll go get the bear. Yeah, something to distract you with. All right, so question. How many laws do you think we need to have a functioning society? 10? Why 10 laws? You think everything that we needed to legislate could be covered in 10 laws?
If we use our brain enough to think about it thoroughly, then maybe.
Okay. Additional input. How many laws do you think we need? A lot? Like, okay, give me an order of magnitude. Tens, hundreds, thousands.
About that.
21.
Just to ballpark it, just like
Probably like
6, 7. We know you think it's 10 or less. How many? Okay, let's start with this. How many commandments did God give the Israelites? There are 10 famous ones, and then there are 603 less famous ones. Okay, so the number is the number at least 613 then, because that's how many laws Jesus gave the Jews, or God gave the Jews.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What if I told you that to have a functioning society, we only needed 2?
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, 2.
What? Is it
What would you tell me?
don't sin and honor God.
Wouldn't that be the same thing?
We.
Yeah, something to think about there for a second.
Wait,
All right.
anything can go
I think that we really could get by with only 2 rules as long as we applied the principles all the time. What's the problem?
We're sinful.
Yeah, we're sinful. We don't do that. We don't. Yes, we're sinful.
What was sound?
It means we don't always do what God wants us to do. Yeah. You know how you don't always do what I want you to do? That's the same thing, but worse. Because Because I'm just a daddy. I'm not God. Oh, cleaning up the toys. All right, I think that we really only need two. But how could a society function with only two laws? We kind of need a little bit of order in our lives, don't we? We're really bad at applying God's rules all the time. So he gives us a lot of them so that we can understand better what the standard is. It's not so that we're burdened with extra rules, but it's because God is a God of order. And we are agents of chaos. And we need God's order to help set everything right. So this is why it's important for us to develop a lifestyle of discipleship. That means a lifestyle that reflects Jesus, who we are disciples of. Jesus is going to give us three things to consider, three principles for today. One of them is a rule, and the other two are kind of advice, okay, that we need to consider as we go through life. You are so tired. Just go to sleep. Yeah, just go to sleep. Do I need to turn you over? My arm is getting tired holding you like that. You're getting heavy. Here. There we go. What?
Nothing.
What did he do?
Why did you do that?
Was there a hand gesture? Is he a crip or a blood?
Like flipping me off.
Oh, he has no clue what that means. Yeah. Hey, Owen, don't do that. That's rude. That's just rude. You don't need to know why. All right, back to the happy baby hold, because apparently the sleepy hold is not working. All right, we'll just hold you like this. Three principles to continue. Now that Nathan is back, we can actually get started with the first one. What?
Did you say that?
I'm about to tell you one of them. The other one's not actually mentioned in this passage, so it's mentioned elsewhere. It's kind of ironic. And this is just a rephrasing of the second greatest commandment. The first principle for today is the golden rule. What's the golden rule? Okay, yeah. Is that enough for our society to function? No? Why?
Because we can't even treat other people.
You mean gold?
Okay, because there's something else missing from the equation. Let's read the verse 12 together. So, whatever you wish, not golden bears, I don't mean that. I mean golden rules. So, whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Okay. Let's start with what that means. What does it mean to do to others as you want them to do to you?
Golden bears. Golden bears.
Dude, don't do that. Don't lick phones.
It was dirty, so I had to clean it.
That's gross.
It was dirty.
What do you think it means to treat other people the way you want to be treated?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if I lick his phone, then I'm gonna want him to lick mine.
Okay, so it kind of means the opposite. It means if you don't want him to lick your phone, don't lick his phone. It doesn't mean go lick his phone if you want him to lick yours. Okay. What else? Let's get some other examples that are less germy. What do you think Jesus means by this is the law and the prophets? I don't think you know the answer, but you can try. What do you think Jesus means by saying this is the law and the prophets?
Baby?
Babies? No.
Who?
Certainly not. What do you think that means? Just the statement, nothing deeper than that. When Jesus says this is the law and the prophets, he's saying this is what the law is trying to teach you. This is the main principle that the law is trying to teach you. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. And we'll look at some implications of that as we go. But that's the guiding principle, is to treat other people the way you want to be treated. That doesn't mean that if you want to be beat up for some reason because you're self-destructive, that you go around beating people up. Okay? That's still selfish. It means to be selfless in the way that you interact with other people. Owen, you can either be quiet or go to the playroom. Is the last time I'm going to tell you.
This water.
No, go to the playroom.
No.
All right, I'm going to take you to the playroom. I'll be right back. I had my microphone turned off. It does refer to the Old Testament. They called the Old Testament, what we refer to as the Old Testament, the Tanakh, the Torah, which is the law or the tutor, the guide, the Ketuvim, the prophets, and sorry, the Nevi'im, the prophets, and the Ketuvim, the writings. So we have things like wisdom literature, like Song of Solomon might fall into wisdom literature or poetry. It would fall into writings. Things like the Psalms, things like Proverbs and Ecclesiastes would fall into the writings. So when we talk about the law and the prophets, that's what we're talking about. The Old Testament, or as how would they have seen the Old Testament in Jesus' time? It's the whole Bible for them. There's no New Testament yet, and there won't be for another 10, 15 years at least. 20, I think it's 25 is the oldest fragment, 25 years after Jesus' death. Something like that. So if this sums up all the law and the prophets, let's think about some implications of that in our modern day, because we are not Jewish. We do not keep the law of Moses. It was not a law made for us. The New Testament makes that very clear. So how do we apply that? Okay, you're driving down the road and you park next to another car. You open your door and you accidentally whack the door and leave a dent in it. Like a noticeable dent, not like a tiny little ding. If somebody were to come up to your car and open the door way too hard and leave a massive dent and maybe some paint transfer on it, what would you want them to do? Pay to fix it.
They better.
Or at the very least, leave their information so you can deal with insurance. Right? So what should you do in that situation?
Be mad.
If you're the one opening the door hitting the car?
Be like, for it.
Pay for it? Yeah, you should leave your contact information and at least offer to pay for it.
What if they're like, no, you don't need to pay crap?
Well, then you're good.
So you can just leave us?
If the person is there and you talk to them and they say you don't need to pay for it, then yeah, you're good. I have been rear-ended. I've been backed into twice. I've been rear-ended twice. I've been backed into twice. And 0 times have I called the police to get that fixed. Because it was always pretty minor. Usually there was no damage at all. Or the car was a piece of junk. Usually the car was a piece of junk because I just had terrible cars growing up. Why would I do that? Because if I accidentally backed into somebody's crappy car and I didn't really damage it and it was already beat up, what would I want them to do for me? I wouldn't expect it, but it would be nice if they would forgive me and let it go. All right. So when you're shopping, what do you use?
Money card.
A shopping cart. When you get back out to the parking lot, what do you do with that shopping cart?
Bring it back.
Why?
Because what if it hits another car?
Okay, because you wouldn't want somebody to leave a shopping cart out in the parking lot to roll around and hit another car.
What if I do?
What are some other reasons?
What if I think it's fun to just hit someone?
Well, then you're just terrible. Sorry. I feel confident that that's not actually how you feel, so.
I'm just saying, like, what if?
Okay. What if you were the guy that had to go get all of the shopping carts? Where would you like them to be? In the cart return, would you like them to all be facing the right direction in a neat and orderly line? Yeah, well, that's another problem entirely. Would you want somebody to steal your shopping cart? No, then you shouldn't steal theirs. Okay, so we can handle this with that principle. Well, then that's irrelevant. If you don't have a shopping cart, no one can steal it from you.
So you can just steal it?
No.
What are you talking about?
If you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes. You have to think before you act. If you're the shopping cart retriever, parking lot attendant, whatever they would call that, I don't know what they would call that job, you would probably not want to walk all over the parking lot in 95-degree heat and in the sun to go gather carts that other people were too lazy to roll 10 feet into the shopping cart return.
He's getting paid, though. And that's
So, if you were getting paid to go do that, minimum wage, would you want the extra work of going around the parking lot and gathering buggies?
like 15.
Like $7.25.
No,
No, it's been $7.25 since 2003.
Over $10, then I'll do it. But if it's not over $10, then I'm not doing it.
Okay, so these guys are making minimum wage.
Wait, what's the minimum wage?
It's $7.25. It has not been raised since I think it was 2003, since George Bush was president. No, a lot of places pay a starting wage of $15 an hour, but the federal minimum wage is $7.25. No, maybe in 2003 you could have, but what's that, bud? No? Okay, good. You're doing a good job being quiet. Thank you. Let's keep it up. Good job. Okay. So what about your wallet? You lose your wallet. What would you like to happen in that situation? You would like to get your wallet back. How can you get your wallet back? Somebody finds it and they return it. All right. So if you find a wallet, what should you do with it?
What if the guy's like, you can have the 20?
Well, then he's paying you a reward for returning his wallet.
What if
But you don't assume that.
What if someone like returns your wallet to you and then they ask for money? No, they like take all the money.
Well, then at least you don't have to replace your credit cards and your license and all of that. So
like, what if they took? What if
still better than nothing.
they gift cards, some receipts, and your driver's license? I'm gonna ask for it.
If they stole your credit cards,
Yeah.
oh, then that would be a call to the police.
Really?
So if you lose your wallet, you would probably want somebody to return it to you with everything in it. And then if you were to return a wallet, you would probably like a reward, right? Okay, so what would be the best thing to do? To return the wallet not expecting a reward. And then if it's your wallet that was lost, someone returns it to you, it would be nice to reward them. You should do that. All right? Both sides of that coin. These are common things that happen to people in this world. I don't usually carry cash, so I can relate to that. The majority of the law and the prophets can be summed up with this one principle of treat other people the way you want to be treated. Don't believe me? Turn to Exodus chapter 21. 21? Yeah, 21. We're going to pick up in, I think, verse 39. I should have put it up on the screen, but I didn't. It's not going to be on the screen. Exodus 21. This is some guidance that's given immediately after. Oh, there aren't 39 verses. All right, let me find what verse it is then. 33. Laws about restitution. All right.
When a man opens a pit, or when a man digs a pit and does not cover it, then an ox or donkey falls into it. The owner of the pit shall make restoration. He shall give money to his owner, and the dead beast shall be his.
When one man's ox butts another's so that it dies, thank you, Nathan, then they shall sell the live ox and share its price, and the dead beast also they shall share. Or, if it is known that the ox has been accustomed to gore in the past, and its owner has not kept it in, he shall repay ox for ox, and the dead beast shall be his. If a man steals an ox or a sheep and kills it or sells it, he shall repay 5 oxen for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. If a thief is found breaking in and is struck so that he dies, there shall be no blood guilt for him. But if the sun has risen on him, there shall be blood guilt for him. He shall surely pay. If he has nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. Oh, that's a big yikes right there. If the stolen beast is found alive and in his possession, whether it is an ox or a donkey or a sheep, he shall pay double. If a man causes a field or a vineyard to be grazed over or lets his beast loose and it feeds on another man's field, he shall make restitution from the best in his own field and in his own vineyard. If fire breaks out and catches in thorns so that the stacked grain or the standing grain over the field is consumed, he who started the fire shall make full restitution. If a man gives to his neighbor money or goods to keep safe, and it is stolen from the man's house, then if the thief is found, he shall pay double. If the thief is not found, the owner of the house shall come near to God to show whether or not he has put his hand to his neighbor's property. For every breach of trust, whether it is for an ox, or a donkey, or a sheep, or a cloak, or any kind of lost thing, of which one says, "This is it," the case of both parties shall come before God. The one whom God condemns shall pay double to his neighbor. If a man gives to his neighbor a donkey, or an ox, or a sheep, or any beast to keep safe, and it dies or is injured, or is driven away without anyone seeing it, an oath by the Lord shall be between them both to see whether or not he has put his hand to his neighbor's property. The owner shall accept the oath, and he shall not make restitution. But if it is stolen from him, he shall make restitution to its owner. If it is torn by beasts, let him bring it as evidence. He shall not make restitution for what has been torn. If a man borrows anything of his neighbor, and it is injured or dies, the owner not being with it, he shall make full restitution. If the owner was with it, he shall not make restitution. If it was hired, it came for its hiring fee. Let's stop there. All right. So when should you make restitution? What's the guiding principle in that passage? Sorry. If you did something wrong, you should pay it back. If it is your fault, you should repay it. If it's not your fault, it's not your responsibility. That's pretty much how that works. Why do you think that's the rule? It's pretty simple, because if you lent your tool to your neighbor and your neighbor is careless with it and breaks it, you would want your neighbor to replace it, right? Yes. But if you're standing there next to your neighbor watching him use your ratchet as a hammer and it breaks, whose fault is it? It's kind of your neighbor's fault, but it's also your fault because you were right there and you could have stopped it. You see what I mean? See what God means? We should treat other people the way we would want to be treated. If somebody were to damage our car, we would want them to pay to fix it.
What if it's like a Ferrari?
If someone were to break a piece of electronic, like break our phone, okay, we would want them to replace the phone. Now, if you pay for a whole new phone for somebody, aren't you going to want to have a phone out of the deal?
So you can get his old.
So you get the broken one.
Oh.
Kind of a weird thing there, but where does this apply in our current economic situation? Actually, I've got a great example of this. It happened Friday. Hannah ordered pizzas online. I went and picked them up. I got home, and one of the pizzas was wrong. Okay, so what should I do in that situation?
Call them up and give you a brand new pizza.
Yes. What should I do with the old pizza, with the one that was wrong?
You could give them back.
I should give it back to them. Why? Because they paid to make me another pizza. They should get the one that's wrong.
But usually they'll just let you keep it.
Sometimes they'll say, hey, just keep it, we don't want it back. Why? Because typically they have to throw them away. Now, this pizza that I gave back was stuffed crust, and clearly the guy at the front counter didn't want to throw it away. He put it under the counter, so I'm pretty sure they saved it for later and ate it themselves, which I am totally okay with, because I got the right pizza, and it was delicious.
I got crunchy rice pizza.
And Owen got crunchy, square-cut cheese pizza. Yes, he did. It was smacking. It was delicious. All right. Not all of the law, because not all of law has to do with how you deal with other people, but the majority of the law can be summed up with this one rule. All right. So what do we do with that? We have to stop and think before we act. How would we want this situation to go if we were in this position? That means be careful when you open your car doors, because you would want other people to be careful around your car. It means return lost property if you can, or at least try to. Don't go raiding the lost and found just to get stuff. It means if you damage something that belongs to your neighbor, you should at least offer to fix or replace it.
But what if they accidentally say yes?
What do you mean if they accidentally say yes?
Or like, I'm accidentally say no. But then they
I-
come back to you the next day.
Okay. So I've got an example of this from college. Any of you ever have pocket knives? Okay.
He gave me a
I carry a pocket knife because my grandfather taught me to carry a pocket knife, and it's just an incredibly useful tool. I use it just about every day, and it's nice to not have to go find one. So I was flicking my pocket knife open, not this one, but a different one, in my dorm one day. I was just flicking it open. I was flicking it, but it was really hard to flick open, so you had to put a lot of effort into it. Okay, and I flicked it a little too hard, and it flew out of my hand. It went up into the air about to the other side of the dorm room, and it landed point down in my roommate's keyboard. Okay.
Were you scared?
Oh yeah, because I almost stabbed my roommate with a flying knife. So yeah, we were both kind of shaken up about it, and I stopped flicking my knife in the dorm room. Got to learn my lesson there. Now, it did not damage my roommate's keyboard in any meaningful way. It left a little tiny nick in the side plastic. But it was a very expensive keyboard because it was a Microsoft brand ergonomic keyboard. It's like 120 bucks. Okay. Now, in these days, you get mechanical keyboards that are hundreds of dollars, so I guess it doesn't sound that expensive, but it is. It's really expensive. And he was mad. Of course, he had every right to be mad. And I said, if you want me to replace it, I will replace it.
But then he said no, and then
He said no.
He came back to you and wanted to.
Actually, no. He still has not had me replace that keyboard. He's bought another keyboard since then. But and the offer still stands. If he ever were to come to me and say, "Hey, I think I want you to replace that keyboard that you stabbed," I would still do it today. I borrowed a nail gun from a professor, and it was all leaky. If I had broken his nail gun, I would have offered to replace it. Okay, I would still replace it if he came to me today and said, "Hey, Xander, I think you broke my nail gun. Can you replace it?" Why? Because if I found out years later that somebody had broken a tool that I lent them, it would be nice if they would replace it. And we just have to think about these things. It means being selfless. Well, then you work something out. I was not in a financial situation to replace John's keyboard, and I'm thankful that he didn't make me. But instead of making me replace his keyboard now, for a while, he just really liked to tell the story of how I stabbed his keyboard. So, it's something, right? He got something out of the deal. Let's go back. I got to go back to my app to go to the next slide here. Yes. All right. So that's the principle. We should just stop and think. We should make sure that we're not being selfish. We should treat other people the way we want to be treated. Here's the second principle of today. This baby is clearly asleep, so I'm going to go try and put her in her stroller and close it up, and we're going to see if that will work. Okay. Whew, that's better. My arm hurts now. Good Lord. I was already sore from yesterday and now. Okay. So, we can take the easy way, we can take the hard way. What do we want to do? What you want to do this the easy way or the hard way?
The hard way.
The answer should almost always be the easy way, until we're talking about things like this. So let's look at verse 13. Owen says the hard way. He usually chooses the hard way in life. He's 4, so he's 4 and a boy, so they're a little defiant. Enter by the narrow gate. He's fine. Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. Now, this is a way that we can interpret the first principle. What do you think Jesus is saying? It is easier to rebel rather than to obey. It is easier to sin than it is to be holy. Why do you think that is? Yeah. Why are we sinful people? Because our creation was tainted by sin because of the actions of Adam and Eve. And all of their children are sinful too. And since we are descendants of Adam and Eve, guess what? That includes us. We are sinful too. Really, a good way to look at our sin nature is that instead of being selfless and thinking about others and thinking about how we can please God, we became selfish and focused on ourselves. We made ourselves an idol. We worship ourselves instead of following God. You're hungry? There might be a snack. Michael, do you know if there are any snacks in the other room?
I think there's a bag of chips left.
That might be. I would appreciate if there are. Okay. It is easier to rebel than to obey. Let's think of some ways that might be true today. Is it easier to throw your trash on the side of the road or to wait until you get home and put it in a trash can? It's easier to throw it on the side of the road. How do I know that? Because there's trash all over the side of the road everywhere you go. You don't have to deal with it. You just throw it on the ground, right? It's easier to do the wrong thing in most situations than it is to do the right thing. How about when you need to have a difficult conversation with somebody? There's a church member, I won't tell you who I needed to call for weeks on end. And I really did not want to call this person, not because I didn't want to talk to this person, but because I knew that the conversation was going to be uncomfortable. And eventually we just had to call, and the conversation actually ended up being just fine. But it was easier for me to try and put it off than it was to just call and have the conversation that needed to happen. As a pastor, that kind of thing happens a lot. You need to oftentimes confront people about some things, and it's very uncomfortable. And it's difficult to do. But sometimes that's just what we have to do. I'm going to show you a picture now. What is that?
Tire.
Where is that tire?
On the road.
Where do you think that picture is taken?
In the road.
Where do you think... I took this picture. Where do you think that picture was taken? That is the corner of my yard.
Oh.
Okay? So this is the street. This is True Love Street. Okay? You now know which road I live on. And this is Hiawatha Hills Road. And I live right there. Like, my house is out of the frame. Obviously, because I'm looking at the road. There's a tire on the side of the street. Why is there a tire on the side of the street?
What is that sign?
It's a for sale sign for a house down the road. You want to move to Cleveland?
If I had the money,
She woke up. If you had the money.
I would do it for Shelly.
Hey! You're supposed to be asleep. You look happy, though. You look like you feel better. I don't like that you just woke up, because now I've got to hold you again. Let's see. Where'd I put that baby backpack? Can I put you in the baby backpack? Are you going to be happy about that? All right, why is that tire on my street corner?
I don't know, but it better be that.
It's not my tire, so there's your first hint. Why do you think it's there?
Because someone just chucked it out the window.
Well, they probably didn't chuck it out the window, but yeah, somebody did not care enough to go pick it up when they lost it. Any of you ever bought tires before? Probably not.
I bought like tires and different stuff.
Michael, when you buy tires, what do you have to do with the old tires?
They usually charge a disposal fee.
They charge a disposal fee. Why do they do that?
Because it's not something you can put in a land. You know, it has to be
Specially disposed. So there's an entire industry on disposing of tires. By the way, they usually just ship them off to Iran and they get tossed in a pile and burned. In fact, the giant tire pit is still on fire. It will never go out unless all the tires burn. So your tire disposal fee, thanks EPA, is not actually doing what it says it's doing. You just burn them somewhere else. I think it's in Iran. It might be in Pakistan. It's over there somewhere. Look it up. Giant tire pit. You'll see it. It's in the desert. It literally is just like square miles of tires. Do you want your arm free? How do you want to do this? Yeah, I bet you do. It is very hard because she doesn't speak English. You see? You see the pictures of the tire pit? It's huge, isn't it? What's your tires end up? So if you don't want to pay the tire disposal fee, what do you need to do? Tires home with you. They give them back to you. You take them home and you're supposed to dispose of them in a very specific way or repurpose them for something else. Now, most people just toss them in the backyard. How do I know they tossed them in the backyard? Because at the previous house I lived in, there were like 20 tires in the backyard that were breeding mosquitoes that I had to pay to dispose of. Okay?
If you burn all the
You can't burn the tires. That's illegal. They will fine you. Because you can't burn tires. It produces all kinds of terrible chemicals when you burn rubber.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to hit the right button. All right, so what's my recourse here? What can I do about this tire? Oh, it's obvious. You can smell it for miles. You might get away with it, but you really shouldn't do it. What can I do about this tire? What's my legal recourse? Unless I knew who was dumping it, now it's my responsibility to dispose of it. I live around the corner from a tire shop. I have a feeling this will not be the only time this happens to me. So, why is this tire on the side of on the corner of my street? Because somebody took the easy way and didn't pull over to get it when it fell off of their truck. Nobody's going around just tossing tires out of their car. That would be silly. Actually, they usually go to the National Forest to do that. They toss all kinds of things out on the side of the road in the National Forest. It's really weird. Yeah, I don't think... We've never had tires of that brand, so I don't think we did it, Owen. I forget. It's like Arrow or something like that. I have to go look. I don't know. I don't know what brand Amazon sells. All right, so worn out tire. Clearly what happened is somebody drove by and it fell off the truck or something like that happened. What's the easy way for me to deal with this tire?
Take it to your house and put it in the collection.
I could just grab the tire and I could walk about 200 feet over to my neighbor's backyard and I could just toss it in my neighbor's backyard, couldn't I?
That'd be a good idea.
I wouldn't have to pay for it. Most likely nobody would see me. Why should I not do that?
Because you wouldn't want him to do it.
Because I wouldn't want him to do it to me.
Whoa.
Okay? You get in it? Now that I've involved cars in the equation. So what should I do with it? I should toss it in the back of my truck and I should drive over to the tire place and pay them $5 to get rid of it.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. I'll just keep it.
Well, the problem is cutting them is kind of hard, and if you don't cut them up, they get water trapped in them, and then you get mosquitoes. And mosquitoes are the worst thing to ever exist on this planet.
Why don't you just like sell it on eBay?
A used tire? It's like completely worn out.
$5?
Make a tire swing out of it. It's not that worn out.
Yeah, would you
Stain all of my kids' clothes. Yeah, it's in the back of my truck.
right
I'm gonna take it to the tire shop Monday and get rid of it.
Can I have it?
Why would you want a worn out tire?
Because, I mean, if you're gonna pay them, you might as well give it to me for free. You don't have to pay.
So the problem is I'd have to put that dirty tire in the back of my car and bring it down here.
Daddy.
I'm just going to take you to the tire shop and pay them $5 to get rid of it.
Dad.
It is easy to do the wrong thing. It would be easier for me to toss this into the woods than to work the 15, 20 minutes that it would take me to earn the money to pay to have the tire disposed of.
Dad.
Yes, sir.
It's getting dark out there.
It is getting kind of cloudy. Wonder how bad that rain's going to hit us. It's supposed to just miss us in Cleveland. So we'll see. I didn't see what time it was coming through here. All right. So, doing the wrong thing is easy because it allows us to be selfish, which is our natural desire. Okay? That is our natural desire of sin, is to be self-centered, to make ourselves. In fact, that is at the heart of the fall. Okay? Moving on to the final principle. There is way, and then there is the right way. Notice I didn't say that it was the hard way. Does that mean it's easy? No, but it is right, and it's more important that it's the right way than that it's hard. So let's read verse 14 together. Let me hit the right button. For the gate is narrow. Which gate are we supposed to enter, by the way? Verse 13 says enter by. Okay, so let's look at 14. For the gate is narrow, and the way is hard that leads to, and those who find it are few. It's hard, isn't it? Even harder when you find out that even looking at a woman with lust. Okay, so if you're even sinning in your heart, you've broken the rules. That's why the gate is narrow and the way is hard. Yeah, that's right. It's hard. I'll give you a few examples of this. Anybody live in an HOA community?
Unfortunately.
Yes. Okay. So some HOAs are no big deal. All right. I lived in an HOA community where the board really didn't care what you did. There were rules, but they really didn't care as long as you paid your $150 a year so that they could keep the community pool open. Yes, sir.
Everybody's leaving.
Are they?
Yeah.
One couple is leaving from another business. I think we'll be fine. They're not even in church. They're just... Okay. It's hard to follow the rules. Especially when your HOA makes it hard to follow the rules. My in-laws that Emma's with right now live in Tennessee. They live in a very strict HOA. Very strict. They were not given the contract before they signed, like before they bought the land, build on it, and then the HOA brought it. They didn't know it was as bad as it is. Okay. So they require them to have 10 trees on their property with trees on it. They have to trees. All right. But you have to take your plan for your landscaping and turn it into the HOA, including what you're going to plant, so what trees, and they have to approve it. And then if they don't approve it, you have to change it until they get it approved. Well, once they approve, to do it exactly that way. Or they fine you and make you fix it. All right. So my mother-in-law wanted a specific kind of tree on her land. She got that approved or something like that, something simple. She got it approved by the HOA, but the tree was back ordered. And it was going to be 6 months before they could get her a sapling. Okay. The problem is that they have to have the trees in the ground within 30 days of the house being finished. And it's going to be at least 6 months. And she can't do something different because the HOA has already approved her plans to put that kind of tree in that spot. What's she supposed to do? How is she supposed to keep the rule?
To work something out.
But they're not the kind of people. They are not the kind of people you work stuff out with. They're vindictive and they have nothing else in the day. Her HOA is terrible. The worst people.
They're like Karens. They just don't.
Every single one of them. They don't even want kids in the neighborhood. They have a rule that 2 weeks because they don't want somebody then just stay for the summer. Too much noise. Couple of kids. It's that bad. Okay.
I brought my mini bike.
Oh, you would not be bringing your bike into their neighborhood. You'd be paying fines left and right. It's like under Stalin. Like, you can't do anything. Okay. What about traffic laws? A lot. There's an entire book of them. Do you think that it's easy to follow all of the traffic laws? Or not intuitive?
Like, why do I have to go with emo?
You can't go 80 miles. But it's really easy when you're in a relatively powerful vehicle to look down and see you're going 85 and now you're in trouble. Okay? It's hard to go the speed limit all the time, especially when traffic is zooming by you. In fact, it's safer to not go the speed limit sometimes because of the flow of traffic.
Done.
Does that mean that you should start braking traffic? No, it does not mean that. Please throw the much.
Oh my god.
Friday, I had Hannah was working and the office to fix something in an emergency. Okay, so me and Owen and the baby, we went to the office, and all it was a cable that was bad, and I needed to replace the cable. But I didn't have the equipment with me to put ends on the cable that was there to just fix it. What did I do? I found the closest cable long enough, and I just kind of patched it up so that it would work for the weekend.
And now I found.
What did you find?
Down the top level.
Yes. So what would be the easy thing for me to do? I could just leave it like that. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. It probably would work for another 5 years. But that's the easy way. What should I do?
I'm thirsty.
Go get some water. Be careful. If you're thirsty, get water. What should I do? I should go back tomorrow and I should put new ends on that cable so that it works the right way, and I should take the contemporary cable back out. All right. Doing the right thing is extra effort. Why do we do the right thing? Because there's a benefit to it. If I don't go back and replace this cable and fix it the right way, well, then I'm going to have to deal with it again in a few months. The next time somebody looks at it, go ahead and fix it. It would take me less than 10 minutes. Okay. Had the right and supplies. I should just do the right thing. I should walk this narrow path. I should. That is the path to life. Okay, I'll help you get water, buddy. Hold on a second. All right. We follow the narrow path. We keep God's rules because that is the way that leads to life. That's the way that leads to a relationship with God that is fulfilling and brings us back into the purpose we were created for. But it's not easy. It's hard. I want to show you another picture. And then we'll wrap up because they're singing faster than I expected them to. What is this?
A lot of paper.
What do you think that is? What are those papers for? That is the United States tax code as of 2013, I think this picture was taken. So it's even bigger now. This is the U.S. tax code and its official interpretation from the IRS. Do you think you could read all of that? It's 75,000 pages. Even if you did read all of it, do you think you could understand it all? Do you think that you could ever file your taxes for your entire life and never break one rule that's in that stack of paper? It is impossible. It's impossible. Do you think you can go your entire bureaucrats, the IRS, Congress? It used to be 23 pages long. The Income Tax Act was like 23 or 26 pages.
Now it's 75.
In 1913, I think it was, something like that. And now it's 75,000 pages of official interpretation and tax code. It's like 8,000 of just the code. How are you supposed to keep that? You can't. That's why there's an entire industry like TurboTax and H&R Block and public accountants to do your taxes for you. And they don't understand it.
So you're losing money.
The IRS doesn't understand it. How are you supposed to keep that law? You can't.
Wait, so he actually.
How are you supposed to go your whole life? How are you supposed to go your whole life without sinning? You can't. Just thinking that you want to be with a woman, looking at her with lust in your eyes, is enough to be guilty of sin. You cannot keep the law. So that leaves us kind of in a difficult situation, doesn't it?
Okay, then one baby.
Oh, okay. So how can we be holy? How can we be reconciled to God? Not by our own power. And that's why Jesus came. And this whole sermon, what is he trying to do? He's trying to explain to the Jews, they are not good enough to get to heaven on their own. They need something more. They need someone to pay the penalty for their sins. They need someone to make them holy because they cannot be holy on their own. And that's the good news that Jesus came to fulfill. He came to be holy because we can't be, and then to make a payment for our sins that we could never pay. So that even though we are sinners, even though we can't follow this narrow way perfectly, we're going to fall off the path every once in a while, still his blood covers us. And all we have to do is say, all right, Jesus, I'm going to let you be in the driver's seat here.
Baby.
Instead of worrying about myself, I'm going to worry about what I can do for you. That's it. It's super easy. It's super simple, I should say. But the way is hard. The question is, are we you who find it, or are we going to be some of the many who find the wide gate? I want you to imagine for just a second a world where everybody keeps that. Everybody treats each other the way they would. Would we even at that point? No. You'd just be able to follow. The rule is simple. Execution of it is difficult. The guiding principle is treat other people the way you want to be treated. And walk that narrow way. Any questions? No? All right. Pray. If y'all need to talk about anything after service, you can find me. We can talk. You can go find a place to that's necessary. Otherwise, let's set up for lunch and we'll eat. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you that you have in your we can honor you. We can be more like you each and every day. That we can walk that narrow path that leads to life. Lord, I pray that you would encourage us all on that walk to keep on going, to keep running towards you and away from sin. Help us to treat other people the way we want to be treated and to build a world and a society that follows after you, a society that cares about each other, not just about our own selfishness. We love you. We praise you. It's in Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen. Amen. Go.